Spider-Man 2 has removed this feature and fans are very confused as to why. On top of that, there are some game-changing features that Insomniac never told us about. Honestly, I really wish I knew this before completing the game, and Insomniac has confirmed some new details about the upcoming Wolverine game and its connection to Spider-Man 2. We have tons to get through. If you could leave a like, it helps a ton, but turn that into a dislike if you get to the end and did not enjoy the video. So Spider-Man 2 has removed the feature that we also loved, that is the ability to actually change the time in the game. So whether you want it to be the morning, midday or night. Now Spider-Man on the PlayStation 4 allowed you to do that once you completed the game, and I totally expected that to be the case this time around, except it actually wasn't. Now, it's official that it currently does not exist at this time, which I have to be honest is a little frustrating. Now, I totally understand that the game follows a theme relative to missions, but when you are roaming around, and especially when you have a different suit on, you absolutely want to experience those at different times in the game. Similar situation with the weather in the game as well. Now, as it currently stands, it has been rumored to be a part of the new game plus, but since we have no official statement nor confirmation on that, it is just speculation. Now, it is mind-boggling though, as it feels like a simple add-on, and with the first game having it especially, it sort of felt like a no-brainer in my opinion. Now again, I totally understand it's relative to of course missions in the game, but for that I genuinely do believe a time-lapse to that time of day would have worked perfectly fine, but let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. But on the flip side, Insomniac Games really added this into Spider-Man 2, and you absolutely want to turn these settings on right now. So navigate to your settings, access the gameplay section and locate the game speed option. Now this is where most people tend to pause, because altering the speed here actually involves repeatedly entering and exiting the settings menu, but to clarify, this feature facilitates slow motion, but the downside is if you do it this way, it's a permanent change. However, there is an alternative method that many might not be aware of. Instead, exit the settings and access your shortcuts. Select either the right or left button on your D-pad and you'll find the exact same speed option. Opt in for 30%, and from now on, during gameplay, you can easily activate slow motion by pressing the designated arrow, and it works amazingly well for boss battles and combat in general, as that slow motion is now in the power of you, and you decide when it's on versus not, how long it's on for, just by clicking whatever arrow you choose on that D-pad. It is an absolute game changer. Now onto a major visual enhancement. Navigate to the visual settings and ensure that you switch to performance mode, disable motion blur and set the film grain to around 4. Now this adjustment will revolutionize your gaming experience and you'll appreciate it later, just like the next tip. Return to your settings and head to Swing Steering Assistance. Now currently it's set at 10 and making it less lifelike, ironically, but what you want to do is lower it to 0. Now the realism significantly improves. This means that when your web is attached to a building on the right, for example, you'll be pulled in that direction rather than just swinging in the middle. You can genuinely sense the force as well pulling you that way, making the web swinging just feel a lot more authentic. So kudos to Insomniac for that, and you want to turn these on right now. Now it doesn't stop there, because they just dropped some news that has every single fan mega hyped, and to add to that, there's a recent update that actually snuck in some new features. But what will also get you mega hyped is Instant Gaming's ridiculously hot deals on brand new games for up to 70% off. Today's video is sponsored by Instant Gaming, the site that gives you the best and hottest games out right now for up to 70% off on any platform instant, no pun intended. For example, example, you can get Hogwarts Legacy right now for 27% off, not to mention the Deluxe Edition for 25% off. But it's not just games that are out, you can also save yourself a bunch of money on pre-orders too. The best part of it all is it's just a simple click to order, head out to the checkout, and in a matter of minutes the code for the game on whatever platform you chose would have landed in your mailbox ready for you to download, and they even have support available 24/7. One thing that I have to say I love the most, however, is the variety. From PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and even Nintendo, the catalogue of games they have is truly extensive. Now you can get PSN cards as well at, you guessed it, a discount. So check out Instant Gaming and use my code to save yourself even more right now. The link is in the description below. So Insomniac confirms the Wolverine game is actually set in the same universe as Spider-Man 2. Now, ever since Insomniac first announced that it was working on the Wolverine game for PlayStation, a lot of people have wondered whether it is actually set in the same universe. Now, there's been plenty of speculation that they are all together, not the last or the least, but the original teasers actually contain a 1048 nod, or a 1048 nod, whatever you wish to say. And otherwise, besides that, there's not really been an official word one way or another confirming it. However, in an interview with Kinda Funny though, Spider-Man 2's director Brian Intihar did confirm that the two games do in fact exist in the same world, and that they are all 1048. Now, he did actually add, laughing, "I think I got that right." Now, this means that Wolverine has the potential to tie into Spider-Man's ongoing story, though direct references and other Easter eggs have thus far just been relatively few and far between. But on an IGN interview, Brian did say, and I quote, "We wouldn't be true Marvel fans if we didn't have discussions like that, but I think for us it was, hey, working on these games is really hard, they are all really complicated. And I think it was just like, hey, let's let the Wolverine team cook. Let's let them cook, and if something ever happens in the future, great. But right now, let's just make sure that basically no one is boxing anyone into a corner, and let's just make sure that they all have a clear runway to make the best Wolverine possible, and it's going to be awesome." So I'm really excited about it, but we wouldn't be like Marvel fans if we didn't talk about things. Now, what are your thoughts on this, and do you want them to be tied into one another? Let me know in the comments below. Now, of course, the game got an update a couple of days ago, and it seems like there have been a few things that have just been thrown into this update that have really changed that gameplay experience, and I guess you could say certain features being added that, well, it's not really obvious, nor is it actually in the notes. One of the big ones on the list is that it addressed an issue where the Amazing 2 suit spider logo appeared too bright, and then there was this big glitch going around where you can basically just be a white cube going around and kicking butt for the most part. And what's interesting is that has now been resolved, but it was actually an issue where the models just simply wouldn't load properly, but only after really long play sessions. Now, on top of that, there was also an issue that has been addressed now with an incorrect flag and how it was actually displayed, as well as improved stability. Now, this is where it's an interesting one, because has this update actually snuck in some hidden new features that aren't just obviously there, but just really tweaking what's existing? Now, I've seen a few people actually mention the speed on the web wings and how they genuinely feel that has improved significantly without you actually having to do the boost as well. There are a few other claims as well, but I genuinely believe that this update is just pretty much the base of what's really big to come. And that again is that main feature of course, improved stability, really just being that groundwork to what they're actually about to implement when it comes down to that New Game Plus, which, as I mentioned earlier in the video, what is currently being rumored is of course a new weather system that we can ultimately just toggle on and off. Again, we've experienced this in missions, don't forget. So when it's just been dark, when we're getting the thunderstorms, when it's raining really heavy, a lot of people really enjoyed that. But again, there needs to be that improved stability before you can actually just roll that thing out and actually be able to free roam by doing that. Similar sort of situation with the Venom scenario as well, of course, where you can just glitch out with Venom and play as Venom. That kind of tied in with that weather function as well. But then again, if we're talking about changing that daytime activity and just what is is really going to come with that new Game Plus option is really what's going to make things interesting. But I'm keen to know, do you feel that your game has improved certain aspects, and specifically with certain upgrades? As I've mentioned, a lot of people are saying that what they feel are being the hidden little feature, so to say, is improvement of the speed when it comes down to the web wings, and again, just more fluidity in the game. But I'm curious to know how your game is currently playing, specifically after really long play sessions, so let me know in the comments below.